You ever wondered how you can take a tarnished piece of silver and turn it into something just exquisitely beautiful and shiny? It can be really tedious, or it can be really hard. But today what I'm going to show you is one of a two-part series on how we can actually go from hard to easy, from dull to beautiful. So stay tuned and we'll see exactly how this works. I'm Jimmy with PJG's Jewelry, so let's get started. Years and years ago, when I was a young lad, I wanted to take something that had a dull, tarnished surface and turn it into something shiny and bright, like this. And all I knew was that I could use progressively finer and finer grits of sandpaper or emery cloth. And I would start out with something like 220, go up to 400, 500, 1,000, up to 2,000, but I never could get things quite pretty enough. And then I learned a little bit about buffing. Whenever we buff metals, we're trying to take a relatively smooth cloth type surface of some sort and polish or buff that metal using some type of a polishing agent or buffing agent. And what you're going to notice is that there are lots of different colors of buffing compounds. In this case, we start out with emery cloth and then brown and red rouge and white rouge. These get progressively finer and finer and finer. One of my favorite polishing compounds is ZAM. It just so happens that whenever you use any type of polishing compound, you have to have, again, some type of polishing disc or mop or felt discs that you can insert into your flex shaft. You notice that the two ring shanks here are radically different. And one of these has just been silver soldered, and we've rough filed the coarse metal off the join. I want to turn it into something like this. And it's really kind of simple. We'll just take our flex shaft, and if need be, I can use some type of flapper emery disc or cylinder or drum to kind of go in the inside of this and smooth things out. But since this one's already fairly smooth, I'm simply going to use either a nylon bristle brush or a felt disc wheel. And in this case, I'll go ahead and just use the felt disc. Put my glasses on so I can see. Pick up just a little bit of polishing compound, and carefully I can hold this to one side. I'll go ahead and start the flex shaft, and I'm trying to come in at a very, very slight angle. And you notice this is not going to hurt me if I touch it right to my skin, but I want to be able to polish that inner surface so that it ultimately looks similar to what you have on this one. If you have a ring shank that's large enough, you might even be able to get the felt discs all the way inside. But hold on to that ring shank tightly. The problem with this is it does get hot rather quickly, and with me holding it so tightly, it makes me want to just let go. But there is a different type of tool set up that allows me to do this, and it's a little bit quicker. So let's see how else we might be able to try this in part 2. Part 1, let's just do a quick recap. In order to polish something that's totally unfinished, such as we saw here, you need to have some type of felt mop or cotton mop or felt pads that's on a disc. You need to have some type of polishing compound or buffing compound, and a flex shaft. Makes things really easy for you, but it is kind of limited in what it can do, and it's a little bit slower than what I'm going to show you. But if you've liked what we've shown so far, please consider subscribing to this. And next week, I'm going to show you part 2 on how we can actually buff things to a very, very high luster very, very quickly. Until then, keep on buffing.